you experience peace. Many a times, when we are troubled and pained, we go to God in prayers, asking Him for deliverance and to grant our desires, but sometimes we still leave troubled, either because we feel that God has not heard us, or these troubles are seriously weighing us down. When God answers you, or for you, to know that He will grant your desires of the heart, one of the things you would feel is peace. The peace of God will guide your heart and give you great assurance even in the midst of trouble. Even if you have not gotten what you've asked for or seen the results yet, you will just have this great faith that it will work out. This means that God will grant you what you've asked for. The absence of peace signifies that all is not well, and you need to press on in the place of prayer until you've seen the results, or you have that peace that signifies that God will answer you. Sometimes God would have answered you, but it can be delayed by one thing or another. For instance, Daniel prayed to God concerning a matter, and God had answered him immediately, but the Prince of Persia delayed his prayer. He had to continue in prayers until he got his answer. We see in the life of Jesus that He was not perturbed at any point during His ministry, but believed in the power of God to answer His prayers. Even more important to note is the fact that He gives thanks ahead of the miracle because He was sure that whatever He asks for would not be denied Him. In the same vein, you will experience peace as a sign that God will give you what you've asked for. Bear in mind that not everything we ask God will be given to us because it is possible to ask amiss. There are certain things that we would ask for that might be to our detriment and not align to the will of God. In cases like these, you might not have peace unless you've submitted to God's will. Even Jesus was troubled in his spirit at the point of his death and wished that death would pass over him, but in the end, he succumbed to the will of God and had peace. So check your peace. If it is intact, you are on your way to getting your blessings soon. Number 2, favor. One of the signs that signifies God will answer your prayer is that you begin to experience favor wherever you go and in all of your dealings. Some things that you've been trying to do with all your strength and efforts that have been impossible will just happen easily for you. Doors that have been closed against you previously will open of their own accord, and in places where you have previously been rejected, you will find mercy. A case in point is the story of Esther. They had gone into fasting and prayer for 3 days because of a decree that had been passed across for the elimination of the Jews in the land at that time. After those days of fasting and prayer, Esther won the favor of the king, and she was not executed even though she had appeared without being summoned. In addition, he told her to ask for whatever she wanted, even up to half of his kingdom. The king was not merely carried away by the beauty of Esther. Rather, there was a force of favor at work which was an evidence of God's answers to the prayers they had made. In the same way, when you cry out to God, you will also experience unmerited favor, even in the sight of people that you do not expect. In places where you've been seeking financial support, doors will suddenly open that will grant you access to those things. In the case of relationship and marriage, you will find that your rejection turns into acceptance as God makes the heart of people open towards you. That is a sign that your prayers have been answered and you will get what you're asking for. Number 3, God speaks to you. This is very straightforward and one of the best things that will indicate that God has answered your prayers. God speaks in different ways, and it is up to you to determine how best you hear from God. 2 of those ways have been described above. One is that you experience peace and know that God is in control, while the other is that you experience divine favor that is a pointer that God is at work. Nevertheless, God can also speak to you through dreams and visions to confirm that your prayers have been answered and that you do not need to worry anymore about the problem. He can also send his angels to you to assure you. While Zechariah served in the temple, God sent an angel to him to tell that his prayers have been heard and that he will have a son even in his old age. That was a confirmation that he would get what he asked for. Several times in the Bible also, we saw God sends his word through prophets to the children of Israel and many others. In the case of Hezekiah, God sent Isaiah to tell that God had answered his prayers and would add 15 years to his life. He further used a physical sign to confirm that he would get what he had asked for. Hannah also prayed to God for a child, crying out her heart in the temple. God also spoke to her through Eli, telling her that she will have her son in a year's time. It could be anybody. It could be through your dreams, it could be a witness in your spirit, or a word from the scriptures. God can also signify that he will give you whatever you've asked for by speaking to you. Number 4, your faith is strengthened. When the going gets tough, the truth is that most people become weak. Just as the Bible has said, hope deferred makes the heart sick. When you pray for something and you do not see the result, you begin to lose hope, and your faith is weakened until it dies if care is not taken. When there is an answer to what you have asked for, on the other hand, your faith becomes strengthened, and this is what will ensure that you will eventually get those blessings, because it will be impossible to get anything from God without faith. It is faith that gets the attention of God in the first place and moves him to answer our cries. Abraham had received the promise for a long time before he ever had a son. But one thing that signified and helped him to get what he desired was his faith. The scriptures says that he did not weaken in faith, neither did he consider the deadness of his body or of Sarah's womb. Also, the Shunammite woman whose son died kept confirming that all is well even though her son was dead, and she eventually got what she had asked for as the boy came back to life. We also see the same in the case of the woman with the issue of blood, whose faith was an assurance that she would get what she had needed at that time. When your faith becomes stronger, no matter the circumstances, that is a sign that God will give you whatever you ask for. Number 5, you receive instructions and ideas. This is also similar to God speaking to you. In giving answers to your prayers, God will give you instructions on what to do or how to go about a certain thing. For instance, God told Isaac to remain in the land of Egypt in a time of famine, and he reaped 100-fold that same year. In the same way, God gave Jacob ideas while he was tending to the flock of Laban, such that he was able to make his own portion of the flock multiply. Ruth received instructions from Naomi on how to get Boaz to marry her, and the widow also received instructions from Alicia to get financial breakthrough. Whatever your needs might be, the fact that you receive ideas or get instructions on how to go about it means God will give you whatever you've asked for. Number 6, you are connected to influential people. Connection is very important in life. There is a general saying that who you know determines how far you go. When God wants to give you whatever you have asked for, another sign that you will see is that he connects you to influential people. These are people that will eventually help you get whatever it is that you need. God connected Esther to the king, and through her connection was able to answer the whole nation of Israel. Similarly, when the widow of the sons of the prophet ran into debt, she ran to Prophet Alicia and got answers to her financial problems by following the instructions given to her. In the same way, you will cross paths with people that will accelerate your transformation and make it possible for you to achieve your goals. Perhaps you've been looking up to God for a partner. He will connect you divinely to that person, or to someone that will connect you to that person, as is the case with Ruth and Isaac. The type of people you come in contact with and their role in your life is also a sign that God will give you what you ask for.